flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of, jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used a friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of, jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used a friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of, jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections drown me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay, sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of, jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend, and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections drown me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good?
Luminary, and you are getting
Pardon
it
my
going.
mind. Welcome to Golden MetaSessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. I'm your host, doc.PEACE, doctor of pharmacy by trade, public speaker, and business consultant. Golden MetaSessions is this time right now for us to celebrate creative expression, featuring NFT creatives who share their projects along with doses of inspiration on how they got started, plus tips and strategies for you on how to boldly creatively express and to empower you as you step into the metaverse. Today, we have an incredible guest with us, Dr. Benton Banner. Dr. Benton Banner is the managing director of Intent Art Collective and generative NFT platform. And Intent Art uses on and off-chain data to manipulate generative art in real time. It's all about sustainability and inclusion because they are 200% carbon negative. They are cool with everyone. Love that. And they believe in love over hate, inclusion over exclusion, diversity over boring sameness. And Intent Art NFT platform is on mainnet, and their Genesis collection is a generative photography collection, and it's dropping in the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be getting deeper into all of that. And before we do, I want to send a warm welcome to Dr. Benton Banner. Thank you so much for joining us today.
doc.PEACE, what's up? Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate that you have this space and that you are helping to facilitate the community in so many beautiful ways. So I appreciate you and I appreciate this moment, and I'm just filled with gratitude.
You're so very welcome. Thank you again for joining us. Let's dive deeper into your story, BC, before crypto. What's going on before you entered into this space?
BC, before crypto, or before COVID.
Before all of this, what happened? What was Dr. Benton Banner doing?
So I studied visual sciences, just to not dox myself in a simple form. A lot of visual rhetoric in relation to business media within English. And that led me essentially into a production atmosphere. And I spent the past 15 years as an international creative director, working for brands all around the world, Thailand, Vietnam, Amsterdam, Hungary, the US, Canada, mostly working for brands, big international brands, but doing specifically work within sustainability. And so any brand that wanted to do a sustainable shoe or a sustainable clothing line, or just a general, that's their model, or as a responsible company, we were the agency and I was the facilitator of creating those photo op, video op, content campaigns around those platforms and what they were trying to do around sustainability. So that's a little bit about my BC. And so we got to a point where we had developed a software, and this software was a video scaling software where we could help these sustainable businesses compete with their unsustainable competitors. We could help a Dr. Bronner's compete with a L'Oreal, right? Who the difference in financial expenditure is significantly higher, where a L'Oreal is spending 10 million a month in ad spend, as opposed to a Dr. Bronner's, which is, spending 10,000 a month. So how can we help them compete, and how can we get there? And we thought scaling video for social content was the vibe. So now comes along, we're all into crypto, all the directors in the agency that I was working for, everyone's a crypto friend. And one of the directors comes in to the office, and they kind of sit down, and this is late February, and everyone, look at this. Look at this thing called an NFT. What is this? What's going on? And so we all dove in to look at that and see what that was. And one of the partners kind of chimes in and goes, did we just invent an NFT machine and we didn't even know it? And that was like the aha moment. And we all kind of looked at each other and took a little bit of time and a few weeks. And, we had a lot of client work at the time going on. And, circle back around, it's kind of the end of March. And everyone's like, this is about to blow up. Like, this is insane what's happening right now with NFTs and web3 and DeFi. And we had been involved in, DeFi summer, the summer before. And now we're looking at like, we're about to go into NFT summer. Like, let's contribute to this. We're in a perfect position. And we kind of agreed to take a big risk, and we stopped taking client work. And we spent the next 6 months building a generative plus NFT platform.
Wow. Wow. That's such a golden story that you just shared. So you decided to go all in once you realized the potential that you had in the NFT space. So can you dive deeper into what this generative platform looks like? What are the
Absolutely.
components? What is this? What is this project that you're currently working on?
So the way that we looked at it was, at the time, we were serving clients, right? And we're serving sustainable clients, and that's great, right? But at the end of the day, we were still a slave to corporate capitalism. And we still answered to those masters, if you will, that were controlling and dictating what our creatives and our artists were able to do and accomplish. And that's taxing. You want to be free and you want to do this thing, and you deserve to be paid for that thing. But if you can never fully express yourself because you have to survive, now all of a sudden we're drained and we're exhausted and we're unhealthy. And so that was one of the main things that brought us to the conclusion of who wants to take this risk. Let's take this agency and let's turn it into an artist collective. We have the resources, we have the members, we have creatives, we have publishers, we have marketers, we have people who are just amazing human beings that are ready to fulfill their deepest desires. And can we facilitate that? So that was kind of the birth of the collective in that moment. And then it was, how do we give something to our members? And that's where the platform kind of kicked off, was, hey, we don't want to send everyone to OpenSea. We don't want to use Foundation. We don't want to use these other things. But we really, really love them. We loved art blocks at the time because of the generative, deterministic nature of how it was creating art unique to the mint. And so for people who aren't familiar with generative art, essentially you create a constraint, and then you feed that constraint data, and that then outputs art uniquely. Now, when we tie it into the blockchain, we can take the transaction hash, right, or the receipt of that transaction, and use that, let's say, key to dictate those parameters and those changes in the art. And that's what art blocks was, kind of on the forefront of. Now we were like, oh, generative art, we love that, but we have some 3D people, and we have some 2D people, and we have some animators, and we have this. And so we didn't want to limit that. So we opened up the smart contract to allow for some advanced uniqueness beyond what we saw in art blocks, so we could facilitate all of the collective members and empower them to create what they want, but in a way that's using the blockchain. And now we fast forward a little bit. And so we have generative, and then we have plus. And so ours specifically is a generative plus platform. And the plus is all those extra things that I had just mentioned, but at its core, it's taking on and off-chain data to manipulate art in real time. And so I'll give you an example of that, and then I'll throw it back to you if you have a question. So a perfect example of this, one of our artists right now, .Jiwa, is working on a generative piece. And so there's an element of this piece, which is a butterfly. Okay. And this butterfly is generative, and it's within a canvas space, and it flies around. Okay. And what we did was we took off-chain data right? So we took a geolocated wind data input. The wind in Dubai on a Wednesday gets pulled into this piece of art, and that dictates the motion of the butterfly.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is just a simple example of using on and off chain data to manipulate the art. And so if I live in Miami or if I live in this other place, I can come out of my room and my butterfly moves differently each day because the wind patterns are different, and my art, is forever unique in that sense.
Wow. Okay, so what would be the utility of having this type of technology in your NFT?
So in this example, the utility is that essentially the work that we had to do involves us working with an Oracle Chainlink and supporting their ecosystem and actually building on their ecosystem information and data APIs that haven't existed before. And so we have stood and will continue to stand up these different data integrations so that other people in the community and other creators who are inspired by this can then create using something that we've, essentially paved the way for everyone to use. So another example of this, if I can jump in again.
Yes, please do.
And if you look at my profile picture, this is from my personal project that I've been working on. It's called Objects. And this specific image is known as Object 0. And Object 0 is a key that will lead you on a journey to discover the power to manipulate your reality. Okay. And in doing that, you have to interact with the art. And so as you interact with the art, that data is saved, right? And then that data gets used to manipulate that art and reveals information about finding your next and more powerful object. And so that's just another way that we've used on and off chain data to manipulate art for the viewer.
Wow. Wow. We're going to have to dive deeper into this because I am just so intrigued by this technology that you've created, that you've leveraged through NFTs, and that you're literally paving the way. You're a pioneer in the space. So we're definitely going to have to dive deeper into more of the technology that you're creating. We're going to have to take a quick break. You're listening to Golden MetaSessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 9.1 FM with our incredible guest, Dr. Benton Banner. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, so stay tuned.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. and neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it.
And we're back. You're listening to Golden MetaSessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. I'm doc.PEACE, and we're here with our incredible guest, Dr. Banner from intent.art. Let's get back into it. So I understand, Dr. Banner, that you've been in the creative space since 2009. You've been working for sustainable and responsible businesses and in an agency setting. But you stated that thanks to our individual blockchain experience and the birth of NFTs, we are creating a community that's more financially empowered than ever before. What does this mean? What is this all about? What is this financially empowered community that you're creating?
Yes. This is a great place for us to go deeper on. And so I think it's important to understand a couple things. The first thing is probably the term Web3 or Web 3.0. And this is kind of the easy way of saying a system that is of the following principles and in varying degrees, because we are not in a fully Web3 environment right now. We have elements that are Web3 and we are moving towards Web3. And so what that is these principles of being open, right, for everyone to see and use and build on, to be decentralized, so that there is no central force controlling anything, to be censorship resistant, to be immutable, to be trustless, and to be permissionless, right? And trustless means that we do not have to trust it because it is essentially fact, and permissionless in the sense that we do not need permission to take action or to do things. And that is what kind of defines Web3. And we can look at that like Bitcoin would be a Web3 platform or blockchain, as well as Ethereum and Tezos and Solana and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the protocols that are built on them are part of that Web3 and part of that entire movement that has allowed so many people to move into this space, to understand and adopt the space, is essentially the idea of an NFT or a non-fungible token.
Yes. So before we dive deeper into how you're crafting this equitable world through Web3, can you briefly describe the differences between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3?
So Web 1 would be like the origin of the internet.
Yes.
Right. And
yes.
Web 2 would be social media, right? It would be Google, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Amazon, and these type of vibes where there's a centralized force that's using our content for their gain. Whereas Web 1 was, those businesses are the creators of that content, and everyone else is essentially just a viewer. And so we've gone from viewer to participant, and now in Web3 we are going to full control and autonomy.
Yes. So how are you currently crafting this equitable world using Web3?
Okay, so this is just super interesting because we're in such an interesting time, and some people would claim that we are in a new renaissance, and what they mean by that is, for the first time in history, the working class, the 99%, is able to accrue wealth through art and finance. And we've never been able to do that before, right? And so 10 years ago, or even last year, if I came to you and was like, Doc.PEACE, I have a Picasso painting, and it has never depreciated in value, and it is a great store of wealth, and it's available to you for $20 million, right? Well, of course, if you had 20 million in disposable income, you would be all over that deal because it's a great investment, right? We know Picasso is never going to go down, and you're always going to, have that store of wealth.
Mhm.
But the amount of people that have 20 million in disposable is 1% or less of the population.
Mhm.
Now, with Web3, we have transitioned from the historical point of view where the proletariat, right, the working class, the 99%, was creating art that was a rebellion against the bourgeoisie, right, against the rich aristocracy. But the rich aristocracy, bourgeoisie, was buying the art, right, and so kind of supporting the 99%. And there was this weird kind of relationship dynamic between the rich and everyone else. And now with Web3, we have empowered the individual, right? The individual creator, the individual collector, the individual human to look at this picture and say, I don't need to sell this to a hyper rich person to succeed, to facilitate our own ecosystem. And of course, those hyper rich buyers who are, buying up Bored Apes right now for 250,000, millions and millions of dollars, like they're good for the ecosystem to some extent because they're supporting everyone else. It's like almost like a joke. It's like, ha ha ha, like you're rich enough to waste, $2 million on an ape. Good for you. Good for us. Good for the rest of us to be able to facilitate, because back in June, you could buy a Bored Ape for $218.
Wow.
Right. And now all of a sudden you can change your entire family, friends, and everyone that you know's life just with the sale of one ape. And that's what I was referring to when talking about this new renaissance and this example of like we have the ability to accrue wealth like never before.
Wow. Gold, gold, gold. Thank you for sharing more on Web3, Web2, Web3, and Web1, Web2, Web3, and how you are really using this new technology to craft this equitable world. I want to switch gears a little bit and dive into your name and the origin of Dr. Benton Banner.
So Dr. Benton Banner is a performance art piece. They are representative of the philosophical concept that we are all one. And so as I move through this character performance, this anonymous front-facing they, information will be released around how this performance represents that unity, and that I as an IRL human, and I as an IRL artist and creator and manager and worker and all of these things, I am nothing and I am everything. And I am nothing in the sense of this person that I am with a name in the real world is just that. It's just a name. And that what is really important is the community and the people and everything that goes together, that I can walk down the street and say hi to someone and make their day better, and they can say hi to me in acknowledgement, and we can have a moment, and we don't need to know each other, and just knowing that I am them and they are me. And in this process of going through this performance, I hope to be able to bring more and more people into the realization and look deeper into the art that's being presented, because a lot of what I do is conceptual. And so when I referenced objects earlier, this is a conceptual immersive experience that will help people gain the powers to manipulate their reality. And this may sound like, you know, well, how can I manipulate reality on the internet? And you'll have to go through the experience to really feel that and see that and gain those powers. But it is a truth. It is a truth that you as an individual have the power to manipulate your reality. And this project is that, uh, let's say, piece of gold.
Yes, gold. I love that. I love that. And I love what you're creating. And I would love to get involved, and I'm sure our listeners will too. So how can we get involved with and support your current project?
So right now you can find us on intent.art. So that is N, like the letter, TENT .art. That is our website. You can find our Twitter and our Discord on the homepage. We also have some articles on there. And you will be able to find all of our project information upcoming. So I would suggest that hop over to the website, maybe bookmark that, maybe put it as the page that opens when you open your web browser, and jump into the Discord, because that's where a lot of our information is going to be distributed, as with most of this space. And so if you're really looking for that alpha, that's going to be the place to find out when we are making these upcoming drops. Our Genesis drop is coming in the next 2 weeks. Will shortly be followed by dropping of the Objects project, which will be around 5,000 units. And then we have another 6 projects down the line. The Butterfly project I mentioned will be coming. We have another project called Dissipation from one of our artists that will be released, which is generative, deterministic, and responsive. So it changes based on the display size, which is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And then the journey just continues, and what creatives can we collaborate with, and who's interested in pushing the limits. So if you're listening to this and you have an idea around using on and off chain data to manipulate your art, or doing it in a generative way, or just asking us and talking to us about it, jump into the Discord, hit me up, Dr. Banner. I'm always available. You can tweet at me or shoot me a Twitter DM. I am very interested in always helping to be there to facilitate the community, to talk to artists, to talk to creators and publishers and collectors, and everyone in the space. So my door is open. I may be anonymous, and you may not be able to see this IRL face unless you run into me in one of these NFT experiences. But I am open, and my heart is open to this space and to the people and to the creators in it.
Gold, gold, gold. I'd love to end with this last question. What is something that you wish you knew when you first started? When you first stepped into this NFT space, when you first became really tapped into your creative and started expressing in Web3, what is something that you wish you knew when you first started?
I've been pretty tapped in from a very open place most of the time. So I don't think that there has been a grand realization of something that I wish that I had known from the beginning. And that's a place of me being incredibly fortunate. But if I were to offer a little piece of advice around that, would be to say, do you, like, whatever it is you want to do, no matter how weird it is, or if you think it's insignificant or whatever, at the end of the day, if you want to be a creator, an artist, a collector, if you want to be all of the above, like, just go. We took a big risk coming into this, and it's still a risk, and we're still looking at it like, wow, like, we gave up clients for this, we gave up stability for this, and we're looking to create a new form of stability that will empower us, to empower communities, to empower creators. And so if I could put that in a concise thing, to if you're now just coming into this, I would say, create exactly what you want in the way that you want, and just contribute to the community in a meaningful way, with an open heart, and be considerate and loving and helpful, and when you see bullshit, call out bullshit, because we don't have space for that here. You know, you see someone being racist, like put them on blast. Like, it's not a time, Web3 is not a silent place. Like, we will not accept that. We will not accept that. So you see someone being racist or sexist or misogynistic, or like promoting some garbage imperialist like points of view, like just let them know that like that is canceled in our culture, and like we are not willing to accept that. Like, we want equity, we want equality, we want empowerment of literally everyone, you know, which is why we're both up here on this stage talking and working with each other, you know, because we're all the same, right? We're all the same. We're just the same. You're another me and I'm another you, and we're just reflections of each other. And hopefully that reflection is a reflection of love and consideration.
Preach. LFG, Dr. Banner. Thank you so much for joining us today on Golden MetaSessions with doc.PEACE. Really appreciate your insight and your light.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to all of our future adventures.
So do I. You're so very welcome. You're listening to Golden MetaSessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. That concludes today's session with Dr. Benton Banner. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you got that dose of inspiration that you were welcoming. And as always, reminding you that it is you who ultimately chooses to consciously express and to be gold, a genuine, original, loving dreamer, as you boldly step into the metaverse. I'm doc.PEACE. Stay gold.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections drown me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents do you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive.